This is episode number 13 with Layne Beachley.
So let's go, I follow, wherever you go, 'cause you're...
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Inventions Show, a podcast about all things invention and reinvention, where entrepreneurs, world-class athletes, leaders and experts in their field today share their story of triumphs and challenges in both life and business. My name is Tacklee, entrepreneur, investor, inventor, and the host of this show. Now, today, I've got an unbelievable guest, with an incredible tale to match. Her attitude is simply unwavering, and her achievements inspirational and plentiful. Now, we're in for an absolute treat, and I'm super excited to have her on the show. Layne Beachley, regarded as the most successful female surfer in history, with 7 world championships, and the only surfer, male or female, to claim 6 consecutive world titles in a row. Now, she also holds 3 Guinness Book World Records, is an officer of the Order of Australia, a philanthropist, ambassador, facilitator, speaker, and author. A true legend and champion of growth, a champion of authenticity, champion of health, and champion of giving back. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Layne, and thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks, Tack. Thank you for that very warm and extended introduction. It's lovely to be here.
You're welcome. I could keep going, but it's going to go around for a couple of hours. So, that's it. That's it.
Sometimes I forget all the stuff that I've done.
No, it's awesome. So the first thing I like to ask all my guests, Layne, for those who are not too familiar with yourself, is can you please give us a window into your background, who you are, and what was your first job?
What was my first job? Okay, so who I am, I'm a 7-time world champion. I'm the chair of Surfing Australia. I'm a founder of Awake Academy, and I'm an environmental campaigner as an ambassador for WWF and a mental health ambassador through Are You OK? And all of that has stemmed from a love of surfing that occurred when I was 4 years of age, started surfing at Manly Beach, and went on to become a world champion surfer. For a little bit more family background story, I was adopted into a beach-loving family with the last name Beachley, became a pro surfer, world champion surfer, and my older brother, Jason, love affair for me from a young age. And I started working as a 14-year-old at our local surf shop down at Manly. And they didn't pay me for quite some time because I stored my board out the back of the shop. So that was rent.
So rental, yeah.
So, yeah, in between surfs, or if there were flat days, I would just work in the surf shop, sweeping the floors and just being the gopher in the store.
No, excellent. Now,
actually, you know what? Yeah. Actually, Tack, I remember now, the first job I actually got paid for was growing up in the northern beaches of Sydney. There's a suburb out there, 10 minutes from Manly Beach, which is where I grew up, called Balgowlah Heights. Okay. And right beside our house was this really long green hill. And the paper boy or paper girl used to come with their little metal trolley with the papers in it. And they would give me 10 or 20 cents to take the trolley up the hill.
That's awesome.
Enterprising.
Yep. Most definitely. Now, you've just launched, your new book, Awake to Evolve, and also, as you said, very recently, hot off the press, your new online academy, Awake Academy. Yep. Firstly, I just want to touch on the book briefly, which I absolutely love, which is, there you go, this one here. Yes, I've got it. No. It's very different to your first book, Beneath the Waves. Can you please give our listeners, an idea of what Awake to Evolve is about? And I mean, there's a lot of gold nuggets in there for sure.
Yeah. There's little gold nuggets of wisdom and truth in Awake to Evolve. So it stemmed from a challenge that I set myself last year, where I was going to post 30 posts of inspiration on Instagram. Yeah. And so I did 30 days of inspiration, and a lot of people loved the posts, and I wanted to delve deeper into what each one of those quotes mean, because a lot of people just, randomly put quotes up on their social medias, but they don't really tell the stories behind them. But every one of those quotes was a personal quote or a personal ethos that I live by. Yeah. And so the the premise of the book was to expand on those quotes and give people reason and meaning behind each one of them, coming from my own personal perspective, and then an opportunity for them to either apply it or relate to it or completely diss it. It's entirely up to you.
No, awesome. Now, I've personally read it many times and love it. And for those of you who've got kids, she's also got I don't know if you can see that. There you go.
Yes.
Kids Book Layne Beachley. My kids have read that probably like 200 times. So be sure to check that out as well.
How old are your kids?
4 and 7.
Oh, it's the perfect age.
Yes.
Are they feeling more brave now that they've read my story 200 times?
Yes. They go, oh, look, that's the surfer girl. Yes, it is.
Indeed.
Now, Awake Academy, Layne. So I want to go deeper into this one. Your unique and powerful online course where you sort of focus on mindset and igniting, the potential in others. I believe there are like 3 chapters, in this program, like awareness, alignment, and awake. Yep. Can you please sort of explain, to us what your approach is there to each chapter and why do you create it and how it's different?
Well, it's a 3-pronged question.
Yes, it is.
So the chapters, so this course organically grew. If you want to know the real backstory, is that I woke up one morning. See, I've been a keynote speaker for about 10 or 12, maybe even 15 years. And I woke up one morning and I thought, if Alcoholics Anonymous can do a 12-step program to help people find sobriety and confidence and strength, why don't I create like a 12-step program for people to follow to boost their confidence, make them feel more centered and connected?
Yeah.
And so I road tested it as a keynote presentation at my next presentation, and they really loved it. And I thought, well, I need to turn this into a book. So then I started writing a book, and I actually hired an editor, and she fired me because I didn't do any writing because I was always going around the world speaking.
Yep.
And then a dear friend of mine, my co-creator, Tess, who's my business partner in Awake Academy, she's like, we need to stop for a second, take stock of what your life looks like right now, and then work out what's going to be the next course of action. Because we realized I was on the road almost half the year. I was doing 45 to 60 talks a year. I was traveling the world, speaking, surfing, delivering workshops, facilitating. It was just a constant demand, and it was a constant physical output, and it wasn't sustainable. Yeah. And she's like, what can we do to help create a more sustainable method, but also increase your impact? And that's where we came up with the idea behind Awake Academy. So the idea was to broaden my reach, but to also utilize my personal life lessons that I share on stage, but I don't go deep enough into. Like, I feel like when I'm a keynote speaker, I honestly say, I feel like I vomit on my audience. I'm like, okay, I'll leave you with that. I'm out.
Here you go.
Yeah. Enjoy. And I want to go deeper because I know I have so much wisdom and content to share. And it's so relatable, and it's not textbook knowledge, it's lived, learned experiences. So the premise behind Awake Academy was to deliver these lived and learned experiences to help shortcut the struggle so people can detach from fear and take control of their lives and then design a life they love. So let's stop living by default. Let's start living by design. And the chapters were all about first developing awareness of our feelings and awareness of our stories and our judgments and our triggers, and then learning and taking that and then taking some time to align ourselves with who we truly are. Because a lot of us, when I talk about living life by design versus default, our default stories are usually self-deprecating or negative or self-limiting stories, and they keep us stuck. They keep us stuck in a life of mediocrity. So to step outside of that, first we need to shine a light on what's currently happening now. So where are we at? How are we feeling? Why are we feeling this way? Then rewrite the stories or reframe the stories to create an alignment with who we truly are and who we truly want to be. And then once we've built the awareness and the alignment, then developing a toolkit to help awaken us to actually commit to living that life. So it's a bit of a 3-step process. It's 7 rounds to correlate with my 7 world titles. There's 19 videos, which correlates with the 19 years I was on tour. And there's 29 workbook activities, which goes with the 29 victories I had on tour. So it just organically shaped itself like that.
Wow. Well, so that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's been a love. And you know what? COVID for me has actually been a real blessing because I was literally looking at my schedule at the start of the year thinking, when am I going to have the time to block out the period that's going to be required for me to build this?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was going to record it in January and I got really sick. Then in February, I wasn't ready. And then in March, we got locked down.
Yeah.
And that gave me so many wonderful opportunities to get it right and to get it and to do it properly. So I'm very grateful for COVID in that respect, but not so grateful for the absolute carnage that it's causing around the world.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. Now, Layne, I'm sure you've had many fantastic surfing memories through your career. Mm-hmm. Is there one that stands out for you?
One fantastic surfing memory when I've been surfing every day since I was 4 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
challenging one. Is that too many? Or is that too many?
That's a challenging one. So I've been surfing for 44 years and I've got to narrow it down to one.
Or top three?
Top three. Four. Oh, gosh. Let me think for a second. Come on, Layne. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Riding a 50-foot wave, or two of them. I rode 2 50-foot waves off the North Shore of Oahu in Hawaii back in the year 2000. That was pretty special. Winning at Chopu in Tahiti, which is one of the most notorious reef breaks in the world. Mm-hmm. And then just sharing waves and laughter with my girlfriends and dear friends in Mexico. I love going to Mexico because it's always so warm and the water's warm, the waves are fun. Yep. And then you're rewarded at the end of the day with a margarita and a fish taco. Corn chips
can't complain. Can't complain.
Yum.
Yeah. Now, I've also read I'll call it an interesting fact or fiction about yourself, back when you were competing, that I'll need to ask you about. Compassion of a tiger shark. How did that come about? I mean, is Layne Beachley back then vastly different to the Layne Beachley now?
Very good question. And the short answer is yes, I am extremely. I have flipped 180. I'm very different to and quite honestly, I look back at that person and go, I can't relate to her. Like, she was fierce, she was brutal, she was brash, she was on a mission, and it was at all costs. Yeah. And these are some of the lessons that I teach in the course, because if you believe success has to be a struggle, then you'll find ways to make it a struggle. And I truly was invested in struggle. Yeah. And that was as a result of being told I was adopted and therefore had a massive fear of rejection. And it was my fear of rejection that was fueling my behaviors. It's like I either behaved in a way that gave people a reason to reject me, or I rejected them first. And so I was a very brutal and, like I said, brash person that pushed people away all the time, because I had to seek evidence of what I believed to be true, even though my beliefs were subconscious. And that's why I was tagged as having the compassion of a tiger shark, because I literally saw my competitors as somebody that was in the way. And I really just wanted to bite them and let them bleed out and get out of my way. Like, I got to win this thing, because my whole sense of self-worth and my identity was just wrapped up in every performance. Yeah. So if I did well, I'm up. And if I did poorly, I'm really down, and none of you get it.
Wow, that's fascinating. Yeah. So it's a fact.
It's a fact.
Yeah. All right. Now, which sort of leads me to my next next question. Like, in your book, you mentioned that you won your first 6, titles in fear-based state, and it wasn't until the 7th that sort of where it all changed. Can you please sort of elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I say that I've won 7 world titles, 6 consecutively, and 5 in a state of fear. So I'd have to correct you a little bit there. With world title number 1 and world title number 7, we both won in a state of love. So what that looks like, for me, if I'm performing through a state of love, ease, grace, and gratitude, and it takes a lot for people to trust in that, because we all trust in things being hard. I mean, we've been told since we're kids, you're going to have to work hard to earn it, and you're going to have to work hard to deserve it. So then we invest in hard. 1 and 7 were mindsets where I saw setbacks and defeats and obstacles as opportunities for growth. Whereas number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, I saw setbacks and obstacles and disappointment as nothing but failure.
Okay.
And I was defined by that.
Yeah.
And so it's something that I had to overcome. I didn't see it as an opportunity for growth. I saw it as a challenge that I had to overcome. So how that played out is in world titles number 1 and 7, I was just focusing on the process, focusing on my health, my fitness, nutrition, my relationships, my equipment, my performance, everything that was wrapped up in competing. I focused on all of that. Whereas 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, I was focusing on everything else outside of me and controlling and projecting and being forceful and and had an enormous amount of judgment and criticism. Came back for number 7 and went, okay, I need to apply what I learnt from doing it the first way. And actually, you know what, this can be fun. So it was a matter of detaching from fear, bringing back the fun to help me find my flow. And that's another thing that I teach in the course.
Fascinating. Now, through your years, of learnings and mentoring, Layne, now I'm sure you've come across a lot of individuals that sort of believe life is challenging. I mean, you've sort of gone through it yourself a little bit. What do you see, I guess is the most common reason for people failing and giving up?
Well, there's 2 very different things that you mentioned there in regards to failure and giving up, because I failed for 8 years before I won my first world title. I had also decided that coming second in the world was a failure because I'd set my sights on winning, and only becoming a world champion was considered to be successful. So one of the things that stops us is expectations and unmet expectations, which Brené Brown says disappointment is always the result of unmet expectations. So how do we manage or how do we manage our expectations? And it's not about increasing them or lowering them. It's actually just being realistic and measuring whether the work that you're doing is relative to the output that you expect of yourself. So if our expectations are too lofty, we'll tend to put too much pressure on ourselves. And a lot of us tend to crack or feel crushed under that pressure, which is what I do. Another thing that stops us or prevents us from succeeding is how we define success or how we define failure. And then our relationship with that. So if we have a relationship with failure that defines us, then that's going to stop us in our track. Another thing that can stop us from succeeding, which a lot of people are unconscious of, is a fear of success. And I had a fear of success. So how do you judge success? How do you judge successful people? What kind of pedestal do you put them on? What kind of words do you use to describe them? And if they're negative or hurtful, then the last thing you're going to want to do is achieve success, because then you're going to think people are going to say the same things about you.
Yeah, that's interesting, that one. So how do you define success?
Well, I define success now by how I feel. I don't define it by what I achieve. So my ultimate vision for myself, and the way I define success today, which is very different to how I defined it 30 years ago, is waking up feeling energized and excited for the day. If I'm not energized and excited for the day, then I've got something to worry about and I've got something to look at, and that's my mirror. So I've got to hold myself accountable for the behaviors that I'm perpetrating that are preventing me from showing up as that individual each day. That's the best place to start.
Cool. Now, just going back a little bit, Layne, and during your competing years, how did you maintain and I guess more importantly sustain your success, at the top for so long? I mean, what is your secret sauce? I mean, is there a secret sauce?
Well, my secret sauce at the time was fear. I had decided as an 8-year-old that if the only way I'm going to be deserving of love is if I become a world champion. So to put that into context, when my dad said you're adopted, I had decided to believe I'm unworthy of love, and the only way I'm going to be deserving of that is if I become the best in the world. Set my sights on becoming the best in the world, got there once, and went, I'm not enough yet. I've got to do this again and again and again and again until I get to 6, because the record books had suggested that Kelly Slater was the most successful because he won 5 in a row. So I just wanted to outdo Kelly Slater. So I did that.
You did, yeah.
Outdid Kelly Slater, and then decided, all right, I'm enough now. But up until that point, that the formula that I put into place to help people create some context around how you can sustain success is 3-pronged. So firstly is your clarity of vision. As I say, my vision today is a lot different to when it was as a competitor. So as a competitor, my clarity of vision was to win. Then I had to surround myself with a dream team. So the law of proximity states you become the sum of the top 5 people you spend the most amount of time with. So choose wisely. I had a very strong dream team. And then lastly, it's accountability partners for action. So your dream team's your accountability partner for the actions that you take on a daily basis. So start with your vision, move into your dream team. Then what actions do you need to take? Keep it simple. Keep things in threes. We're human. We remember things in threes.
That's true.
And then and that's kind of like your model for sustained success, or my model for sustained success.
That's cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. So turning point or points, you know, when you look back at your entire life, you know, everything that you have and achieved to date, Layne, can you pinpoint one thing that changed everything for you, or is it more of a collection of moments for you?
There's been a collection of catalyst moments, but I still reflect back on that day when my dad sat me down on the couch and said, "You're adopted." And that, as an 8-year-old, hearing those words, there goes my voice, hearing those words as an 8-year-old was really powerful, really impactful. Because right then he was saying, we love you. We're so grateful we have you. You're my baby girl. And I was hearing, I've been abandoned. I've been rejected. My mother never wanted me. What am I going to do about this? And that's when I went, I know, I'll become a world champion. Everyone will love me if I do that.
That's an incredible story, that one, Layne. So, and appreciate you for sharing that. So I guess in unique times like this, you know, what will your advice or message be for our listeners? I mean, we have an audience from over 90 countries, and with what's happening, you know, around the world, it's unfortunate, but there's a lot of, you know, fear and uncertainty in the air. What would you say is the most, I guess, you know, most important thing people can do right now so they can come out bigger and better?
Well, right now they need to nurture themselves. They need to prioritize their health and well-being, mental health, physical health, emotional health. They need to maintain connections with loved ones. I feel that during these times it's so distressing that I know when I've been through my deepest, darkest, distressing times, knowing that I have one person out there that I can rely on that doesn't judge me or criticizes me, but I just know that I can call on them for anything at any time. We need to maintain those strong connections. But to avoid going into that dark state, and to avoid going into that depressed state or a state where you might do something you regret, you need to keep doing something every day that makes you feel good. And something that makes you feel good that's legal, that doesn't compromise your health and well-being. So for me, it's a different thing every day. We're very fortunate here in Australia, especially in New South Wales, that we can still go outside for extended periods of time. So immersing myself in nature is the best way for me to feel good. You know, it boosts my serotonin, it boosts my endorphins, it makes me feel really good. Walking barefoot in the grass, sitting in the sun for 5 minutes, diving in the ocean, all of those things just make me feel good. Exercise is the body's natural antidepressant. So moving my body, getting my heart rate up, even if it's for a matter of 10 or 12 minutes, just moving. I've got a great app called the 7-Minute Workout. You only need 3 meters by 3 meters with a chair. That's all you need. So there's no excuse not to exercise. Meditation, putting on music, especially if you're deeply drowning in your own negative thoughts, put on some music to break the monotony and the silence, music that makes you feel uplifted, music that perhaps makes you feel like dancing, and drink plenty of water. Right. Nourish you, hydrate your body, because that improves your cognitive function, and your body's 80% water and your brain's 80% water. So it needs water.
That's true. Now, for those out there who are interested, I'll put a link to Layne's app at the end of the podcast. So, you know, what makes you feel inspired, Layne, and like your best self? I mean, I guess I'm trying to ask, how do you be the best that you can be?
I feel like the best way to respond to that is to go back to my model for sustained success. So how can you be the best that you can be is first to clarify, what does the best version of you actually look like? And it's cliche and it's jargoned, but how do you want to feel? That's the best place to start. How do you want to feel? Now, as I said, I want to feel excited and energized at the start of every day.
Mm-hmm.
If I wake up hungover, exhausted, depleted, then I know I've pushed too far, I've drunk too much, I've eaten the wrong foods. So today I need to give my body a break because I don't want to feel that way. And that a lot of us may start with, I know what I don't want. And that's okay. Start there, then flip it to then asking yourself, okay, what do I want? And I mean, I learned the power of positive affirmation by standing on top of 50-foot waves, because the last thing you want to think about is what you don't want when you're standing on 50-foot waves. So start with that. Start with how do you want to feel each day? And then that will then educate you on what you need to do. Now, a lot of us may think, look, I want to be 10 pounds lighter. I want to feel happier and healthier. I want to be able to exercise, but I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I'm lazy. Right? So then we start drowning ourselves out with really negative chatter.
Yeah.
So starting with how you want to feel, turn that into a mantra, because the power of I am, the two most powerful words in the English language, are a declaration to the universe, which you are then supported by in an emotional state. So if you wake up saying, I want to feel this way, but then I am ugly, fat, lazy, and stupid, your subconscious mind takes hold of that. Your subconscious mind grabs hold of the action. It doesn't hear, I am not. It hears fat. It hears lazy. It hears stupid. And its subconscious mind goes, oh, okay, sure, let's make that so. So it just agrees with you. It can't judge you or criticize you or go, what the hell? You said you were happy and healthy and now you're saying you're fat and lazy? What on earth is your problem? Which is what your best friend would say, but our subconscious mind's not our best friend. So we need to rewire our subconscious mind by starting with the power of I am. So the days when I wake up feeling tired, depleted, and exhausted, the first thing I do is I take a really deep breath. I do a box breath technique, which is breathing in for 4. You breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds, and you hold for 4 seconons.
Oh, interesting. Got to try that one out. Yeah.
So box breathing is what military personnel use it. They call it tactical breathing. Yoga instructors call it box breathing. Either way, it's a great way to calm the central nervous system and detach from stress and fear. Just taking a deep breath completely resets your parasympathetic nervous system, the pause and play response, and it calms you down for just a moment. Then replace the negative chatter with I am, however it is you want to feel. Now, every day, I want to feel happy, healthy, fit, and strong. So that's the mantra I wake up with every single day.
Oh, yes, it's in this book. That's right, I remember. Yes.
Hey, you have read that book.
Yeah.
And then take action, physical action, to do something that's going to get you closer to one of those states.
Yeah.
So take a deep breath, create the I am mantra, and then be your accountability partner to go and take the action that's going to get you closer to either being happier, healthier, fitter, or stronger, or whatever your I am mantra may be for you.
Yeah, excellent, powerful stuff. So what is your legacy, Layne? If you could have a billboard, with anything on it, what would it be and why?
Layne rules.
Oh, no, I love it.
What is my legacy? I mean, my legacy now is awakening people, because when I awaken others, it awakens me.
Yep.
As an athlete, when I joined the Pro Tour, I had a grand vision for women's surfing to be in a much better place than where I found it. So my legacy is to enhance and improve and grow everyone and everything that I interact with. I want to make people feel better than the moment they met me. And so awesome. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not I can't control how they feel, but I can certainly control how I feel. And so it's committing to that interaction every day. So there's days when I don't feel good and I still have to turn on, because I've made that commitment to myself that I want to help people. I want to enhance people's lives. I'm not here to detract, because I used to detract and suck the life out of people. I was a dream thief.
Really?
I was the tiger shark.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And I sucked the life out of myself by being so fierce and having lack of empathy. So now it's all about creating understanding and empathy and compassion. I
see. Interesting. Now, just got a couple of light-hearted questions, Layne. Now, with cabin fever building around the world, where will your next holiday destination be and why? Internationally.
Internationally, I'd love my next holiday to be Hawaii. It's like a spiritual home ground for me, and the waves are always fun and the water's always warm.
Wow, nice. Never been to Hawaii.
Really?
I've got to go. I've been to the US a couple of times, but I've just never stopped in Hawaii. So I got to go. Layne says to go. All right, I'm going to go. All right.
Do that.
Now, you've also mentioned that, you travel a fair bit. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to, I guess traveling for you? Baggage?
Packing
yeah.
light. Deciding which boards to take, and then packing light enough to where I can maybe purchase a couple of items while I'm on the road without having to buy another suitcase.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a serial overpacker.
That's okay. All right. Now, what superpower do you wish you had and why?
I wish I could fly unassisted. Because
elaborate on that.
The ability to soar and to use and have effortlessness of the air, the updraft under my wings like an eagle, and just to be able to soar and then have I wish I could be an eagle because I could soar and just have that X-ray vision, and be like a top of the food chain style of predator.
Yep. Here we go. There we go.
But my superpower would definitely be flying.
That's cool. Same here.
The freedom of being able to fly. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, totally amazing. We have to work towards wrapping up, Layne, and super mindful of your time. Really appreciate, your honesty, transparency, and willingness to share. Just got 2 last questions.
Okay.
First is, where can people find out more about yourself and, the Academy?
So they can go to awakeacademy.com.au to find out a whole lot more about the Academy and a little bit about me. And if they want to know more about me, they can follow me on Instagram, Layne Beachley, or go to my website, laynebeachley.com.
Cool. And I'll put some links at the end again for those.
Thank you.
And, secondly, what parting words of wisdom would you like to impart for, anyone watching or listening?
Dead space in the podcast is not good.
That's okay. I'll play some music.
Can you get some in excess up for me?
Yeah, sure.
What's my parting wisdom? Well, the first thing that comes to mind is own your shit.
Yes.
I know we're going through a really challenging time, and the worst thing you can do is adopt a victimized mindset. And a victimized mindset is, why is this happening to me all the time? Like, flip it into a championship mindset. Like, a champion thinks like this: why is this happening for me? So how am I going to make the most of this opportunity? And it's a very fine line. It's a very simple reframe, but it requires an immense amount of discipline and confidence to do that. So just keep practicing it. So my final words of wisdom are: wake up, own your shit, trust in love, get out of your own way, and recognize that all the answers that you seek lie within you. Excellent.
Totally remarkable, insights, wisdom, and experience, from a true legend. So totally love the chat. Thanks again, Layne, and greatly appreciate your time. It'd be great to catch up, for coffee one day or something where Melbourne borders actually open up.
That would be great.
Yeah, so stay well and stay safe and take care.
You too. Thanks, Tack. Thanks so much for having me.
No worries, you're welcome. All right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. You can find me at turn-x.com and also on social media at iam.tacklee. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. If you're enjoying this podcast, please do make sure you subscribe and take a minute to leave us a review. Thank you.